Thank you so much to Skillshare for supporting the channel.
Yay, you got a new iPad. Or you're getting a new iPad, maybe the new iPad Air that came out recently. Or maybe you're wondering what you should do right after getting your iPad to best set it up and secure it. So let's address security first, as that is objectively the most important thing to consider. Whether you only use your iPad at home, or maybe you take it with you while you're traveling or in your lecture halls, your iPad likely has a lot of sensitive information, like your emails, logins, or stuff you wouldn't want or be able to replace, like your class notes or your artwork. In the settings, you can set up a passcode to lock down your device. Depending on the model you have, you can secure your iPad with biometric information like Face ID if you have the iPad Pro, or Touch ID if you have the iPad Air, Mini, or 9th generation. You can set multiple fingers for Touch ID, which I'd recommend if you plan on using the iPad in different orientations. Depending on your model, you'll click Set up Touch ID or Set up Face ID, and then follow the instructions for adding your fingers or your face. As an additional security measure, make sure that Require Passcode is set to Immediately, so you're always asked for the password or biometric information the second you try to get into your iPad. There are a number of things you or someone else can still access when locked in this section here, but you can toggle each of these on or off depending on your preferences. There's also a section where you can toggle on or off what Face or Touch ID can be used for. Another security measure I recommend is enabling Find My. That way you can locate your iPad in the event that it's lost or stolen. Inside the settings, click your name and then Find My and make sure it's toggled on. There are a few additional things we can do here in the settings as well. So clicking on your name and then iCloud, we can toggle on apps to have their information and data backed up to the iCloud. If you would like to have your photos on the iPad backed up as well, you can click inside Photos to make sure it's enabled. At the bottom of this list is iCloud Backup, where you can back up your entire iPad to the cloud, which I use and recommend. It also makes it extremely easy to move between iPads because I can just connect the two iPads and move over everything, my settings and my preferences, apps, photos, backgrounds, you name it, onto the new iPad with the setup and data from my old iPad. Under Display and Brightness, you can choose between light and dark mode, or set it to automatic, where it automatically changes to dark mode during sunset, or you can set your own custom schedule. True Tone adjusts the screen's white balance depending on your environment, which I also recommend toggling on. You can also adjust the text size here, and if you want the text to appear bold. Gestures. We'll come back into the settings a bit later for even further customization, but let's move on to gestures. Gestures on the iPad are super important because it can make navigating so much easier. To start, if you swipe up from the bottom of the iPad, you'll head to the App Switcher, which allows you to switch between apps easily. You can swipe up on the apps to force close them. If you swipe up from the bottom right corner, you'll get a quick note, so you can easily jot down your notes. If you swipe up from the left side of the screen, you'll access the slide over view, which has a few widgets that you can customize here for quick access. And if you swipe from the left corner with the Apple Pencil, you can take a screenshot of the screen. So there's a lot of good uses for this depending on what's on your screen. And then coming up to the top right corner and swiping down, you'll access Control Center, where you can quickly navigate to Wi-Fi, cellular, Bluetooth, volume, brightness, and a lot more. And I'll share how you can customize it a bit later too. Now let's talk about apps and widgets here on the home screen. If you long press on the screen, you'll enter App Shake here, where you can delete or move around apps. Same here with widgets. To move apps, just press, hold, and drag your finger to where you'd like to move it. You can use your other finger to move apps between pages too. To move multiple apps, press and hold on one app and then use your other finger to click apps you'd like to pick up, making it a lot easier to move many apps at once. To organize apps, you can press, hold, and drag an app on top of another to create folders. Click into the folder and rename it if you want to. This is a great way to group like apps for easier navigation. Multitasking. Now, multitasking on the iPad is huge, especially with the newer iPadOS updates. In App Switcher, you can actually drag and drop windows on top of each other to create split screens. When you're in an app, if you click the three dots here at the top of the app window, you'll see multiple options for multitasking. You can even add a new window of the app you have open by clicking New Window down here. So to multitask, click the middle icon and choose the app you'd like to split screen. The third icon creates a slide over floating window of the app. You can do a number of different things in split screen, windows, and so on to have the ultimate multitasking setup. Additionally, you can swipe up and drag and drop apps for split screen as well. Simply swipe up on the apps if you want to force close them. Customization! Yay! Customization, the fun part. Before we get started, if you're getting value from this video, I'd love it if you could like this video and subscribe to let YouTube know you're enjoying. Alright, so let's choose a new wallpaper. Head to Settings, Wallpaper, and here you can choose Apple wallpapers or your own from Photos. You can set different wallpapers for your home screen where all of the apps live and your lock screen, which is what your iPad shows when it's locked. Now let's head to Home Screen and Dock in Settings. Here we can make our app icons large if we want, as well as determine where our newly downloaded apps go. So on your home screen, or organized in the app library that's not on the home screen. With the dock, you can also toggle on and off app library in the dock, or suggested and recent apps. App library is where Apple categorizes your apps for you. Personally, I like to have both of these options on, but you can toggle them off here if you'd like. Now let's download some apps. I love just checking out the home pages of the App Store to see what's new or trending to try out some new apps. But if you're new to iPad, I recommend downloading Procreate, GoodNotes, Zinnia, Colanote, and iFont if you're looking for a great iPad experience. Some are free, some have a small one-time cost, but all are worth it. To see more of my app recommendations, check out my What's on My iPad videos that I'll have linked on screen and below in the description. Yay! Now that we have apps, this would be a good time to organize them in folders or how you want them to appear on your home screen, if you're into that. I go more into customization in this video if you want to dive a bit further. Additionally, we can add and customize our widgets. If you enter toggle mode by long pressing, you'll see this plus icon in the left-hand corner. Click that. Clicking that brings up the widgets library where you can search through the widgets available. If you find one you like, you can click it and select the size and add it to your home screen. Like apps, you're able to move these around too. Similarly, you can add widgets to the slide overview for more widget access. And to round out our iPad customization, let's head back into Settings and click Control Center. Here's where we're able to customize the control center that I showed previously. You'll see the different options here that you can add. Personally, I love having quick access to dark and light mode toggle, keyboard brightness when I use my Magic Keyboard with the iPad, voice memos, code scanner, and timer, so you can add or remove these controls and arrange them using the icon to the right. And now we have a custom control center. Also in Control Center, you'll notice this focus button, which has different settings set for my iPad depending on the focus. So I can control who can get in touch with me and what notifications I receive based on which focus I'm in. You can create focus modes and settings, but also down here by clicking New Focus and this plus button. Here you're able to name your focus, set which people and notifications are allowed to break this focus. You can even customize the pages of your iPad that you see during a certain focus and different automations that run in that focus. And lastly, I wanted to share my favorite iPad accessories that I always buy or consider when I get a new iPad. First is obviously the Apple Pencil. This is a must-have accessory for me, and I'd be using my iPad a lot less without it. It's extremely crucial to me. There are a number of grips, sleeves, and cases, and even an Apple Pencil stand to really customize your iPad experience even further and make the writing and drawing experience that much better. The second thing I like to consider is a case. There are a ton out there. Personally, I like using the Smart Folio by Apple. I prefer the slim profile, no pencil attachment style, and the minimal design, but there's a lot of other options out there, and you'll want to at least protect the screen. And this is where I also like to pick up the paper-like screen protector. This is another crucial accessory for me, and I have a hard time using the iPad without one. It adds a matte paper-like finish to the iPad screen, which increases friction a bit when writing or drawing, which is a much more pleasant experience when using the iPad than writing and drawing directly on the glass. You get 2 paper-likes for the price of one that you see on their site, so if you do mess up the one, you'll have a backup, or you'll at least have 2 when you want to switch out the first paper-like. Another great accessory to consider is the Magic Keyboard, especially if you want to type or use the trackpad features of the iPad. It really transforms your iPad into almost like a mini computer. And despite the cost of the Magic Keyboard, I find it has so much more of an edge over other keyboards that I've tried with my iPad. But of course, you can pair any Bluetooth keyboard with an iPad as well. And then lastly, kind of an odd accessory to include, but AirPods or any Bluetooth headphones are fantastic to pair with an iPad. I love popping these in and using them with my iPad, and I find it to be a worthwhile accessory. As with most things, you can also find cute cases for it too. I'll have links for everything in the description to make it easier to find everything I mentioned if you're interested in it.
Thank you so much to Skillshare for supporting the channel. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of creative and inspiring classes that cover a variety of topics and skills. Skills and projects like Procreate illustration, video editing, and social media are just the many things that I like to learn using Skillshare. While there are so many great reasons for using Skillshare, like for fun, to get better at a skill for your business or your side hustle, or just for your own personal growth, lately I've enjoyed using it for self-care, which is why I've really been loving Mimi Chow's class called Mindful Drawing 101, Guided Prompts for Creative Self-Care. Because I really value Skillshare and how it has helped me as a creator and a designer, the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare.
And that's what you should do after buying a new iPad. I hope you found this useful, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe. It helps a ton. Thanks for watching. If you're getting the iPad Air, then you'll love my iPad Air unboxing and review videos. Or if you're unsure which iPad to buy just yet, be sure to check out my iPad buying guide video, where I compare them all and share which I think has the best value. But I'll see you in the next video. Bye!